Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 3 of Destination Reader. I hope you're ready to carry on reading our story, The Hodgeheg by Dick King-Smith. Remember that our key words are in red. These are the words that are going to help you with your learning today. And any questions for you to answer will be in blue. And there will also be some writing time, which I'll tell you about as the lesson goes on. Before we begin, please check that you have a copy of the story, your strategy prompt sheet, and a pencil or a pen and a piece of paper or your home learning book to do some writing. Okay, let's get going. The Hodgeheg by Dick King-Smith. Now today, just like yesterday, we will continue working on strategy number 2, which is about asking questions. Can you remember, why do good readers ask questions? Have a little think, say your answer out loud, and then write it down. Press play once you've finished. Press pause now. Well done, everybody. Good readers ask questions as they read because it helps them to understand what is happening in the story. Do you remember, asking questions also keeps the reader interested and makes them want to read more? Remember, just like yesterday, when we ask questions in Destination Reader, it feels a bit strange because we don't give any answers. Sometimes the story gives us the answers, though, as we keep reading. Okay, vocabulary for today. One of the first words that you will hear is the word research. My turn, research. Your turn. Research. Research. Research is when you study something to find out some new information. Max, our hedgehog, is going to be researching something today. The next little phrase that we're going to read is evening rush hour. My turn, evening rush hour. Evening rush hour. Now, rush hour is the phrase that we use to describe the busiest time of day. It's when everybody is going to work, going to school, or coming home from work and coming home from school. You know, when the roads are really, really busy and there's lots of traffic. That's called rush hour. Our next word is nocturnal. My turn, nocturnal. Nocturnal. Now, if an animal or even a person is nocturnal, it means that they're active at night. And we know that hedgehogs are a nocturnal animal. It means they come out and they do all of their eating and all of their scurrying around at night time. And then the final phrase is a bit of a funny one. We hear the phrase raised road. Raised means to put something up higher. Raised road. My turn. Raised road. Raised road. Now, raised road is what Max calls a pavement. You know how a pavement is higher than the road? The pavement is higher than the road. Max calls it a raised road because he doesn't know what the word for pavement is. He thinks it's another road, a raised road. Okay, let's begin reading. Open up to page number 8, chapter 2. Press pause if you need some time to find page 8 and then press play again when you're ready. I'm going to read and you're going to use your finger or a ruler if you have one to follow along. And just like yesterday, I will stop at different points because I've got some questions to ask. Here we go. Chapter 2. Max began his research the very next day. He slipped out of the garden at dusk. Dusk is just as the sun is setting. Let me start again. Max began his research the very next day. He slipped out of the garden at dusk, just as the sun is setting. ambled along the path by the side wall of number 5A and crept under the front gate. Can you see him in the picture, creeping under the front gate? Immediately, he found himself in a sea of noise. Let's stop there. I've got some questions. Do Max's parents know that he's left the garden? I've made a little mistake there. The word is doesn't need to be there. Do Max's parents know he's left the garden? And has Max heard loud noise from the street before? Let's keep reading. It was the evening rush hour, and the home-going traffic was at its heaviest. Cars and motorbikes, buses and lorries thundered past, terrifyingly close it seemed to him, as he crouched outside the gate, and he was confused and dazzled by their lights. The street lamps, too, lit up the place like day, and Max, nocturnal by nature, made for the darkest spot he could find, in the shadow of a tall litter bin, and crouched there with a hammering heart. I've got some questions. Is Max scared that he might get hurt? Is that why his heart is hammering? And what would his parents say if they knew he was doing this? Let's keep reading. Gradually, he grew a little more accustomed to the din and the glare, and though he dared not move, began to observe the humans, for numbers of pedestrians passed close by him. Lots of people are walking near Max. They were all walking on the narrow road on which he sat, a road raised above the level of the street itself by about the height of a hedgehog. They're safe, said Max to himself, because the noisy monsters aren't allowed up here. I think Max means the cars. Look, can you see the car is on the road and the people are safe on the pavement? He looked across the street and could see that at the far side of it there were other humans, also walking safely on a similar raised road. He means pavement. He did not, however, happen to see any people cross the street. But they must cross somewhere, said Max. There must be a place further along the street. Okay, I've got some questions. Has Max ever seen people before? He seems quite confused by them. And why does he keep calling the pavement a raised road? Why doesn't he know the word for pavement? Okay, over to you. What questions do you have about our story so far? I want you to ask your questions out loud to yourself, to an adult, to a brother or sister, or to your favourite teddy bear, and then make a note of your ideas on a piece of paper or a home learning book. You're going to press pause and then press play when you're ready to carry on. Press pause now. Well done, everyone. I wonder what questions you came up with. Let's keep reading. We're at the bottom of page 11. A part of him, for he was very young, said that he would find out about that another time, and that it would be nice to creep back under the gate to his family. But then another part of him determined to set off to see if he could find this human crossing place. The street was on a slight slope, and perhaps because of this, Max chose to go in the downhill direction. He moved very slowly, keeping close to the outer walls of the front gardens, where there was some shadow, and he froze, stock still, whenever a human passed. No one noticed him. Soon the houses gave way to a short row of shops. One of them, that very newsagent's opposite, which his great-aunt Betty had breathed her last. And here his progress was more difficult. The shops were still open, and Max had to choose his moment to make a dash across each brightly lit entrance. Phew, this is tiring. Perhaps I should go back home, he said. But then suddenly, not far ahead, he saw what he was seeking. There were humans crossing the street. I've got some questions. How must Max feel when he sees people crossing the road? Oh, how exciting. And who will help Max if he gets hurt? I'm worried about him. What questions do you have? Ask your questions out loud. Say them to yourself or to an adult, and then write them down on a piece of paper or in your home learning book. I'm going to ask you to press pause. Once you've done that, press play again. Press pause now. Oh my goodness, I am so excited. Let's find out what happens. Fingers on the page. Here we go. Sometimes singly, sometimes in twos and threes, sometimes in quite large groups, they step down from the narrow raised road and walk straight across the street with hardly a look to left or right, and stepped up again on the far side, and off they went. And every time that anyone wanted to cross, all the traffic stopped and waited respectfully until the way was clear again. This, then, was the magic place. Here, humans could cross in perfect safety. If humans can, why not hedgehogs? Reasoned Max. But how do people know the exact spot? How do the cars and lorries know when to stop? Have a look at the picture, everybody. How do the cars know when to stop? Cautiously, he shuffled nearer, keeping close to the wall, until he found himself beside a tall, checkered pole. Checkered means striped. Can you see? Black, white, black, white, black, white on the pole, on top of which was a glowing orange globe. Across the street, he could see was a similar pole, and between those two poles, the humans walked while the traffic waited. Biding his time till a moment when there was no one about, Max crept forwards to the edge of the raised road and peered down at the surface of the street. It was striped. It was striped black and white, all the way from one side to the other. This was the secret. Now we know that that's a zebra crossing, don't we? But Max has never seen a zebra crossing before. So here are my questions. Will the traffic, the cars, stop for Max if he tries to use a zebra crossing? And what will Max do next? Oh, I hope he doesn't get hurt. What questions do you have, everyone? Ask your questions out loud, then write them down on a piece of paper or in your home learning book. I'm going to ask you to press pause and then press play when you've finished. Press pause now. Oh my goodness, what an exciting chapter. Tomorrow we get to read more. I can't wait. And we're going to be asking more questions tomorrow. If you want, today, you can carry on making a list of all of the questions that you have about the story that we've read so far. I am loving this book. I hope you are too. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a nice day.